Hi, Easy Guy here. This will be the 15 island heart guides. So I have already discussed which islands are optimal for going for early heart of the islands, but I did go ahead and make a list, a reference image for people to refer to whenever they have trouble with certain quest lines, and as well as this video to help you guys uh, understand a little bit more about why we go for certain islands, which islands are easy to do, which islands should be focused first, and some other options for different islands that you can try to attempt uh, without having to go through some of the more difficult ones. So let's first get started with the type of islands that exist in this game. And most of them can be classified under three categories. The first one are quest islands. Quest islands are islands that can be completed through the quest line that's provided in the island or related to the island, and they will award you with the heart at the end of the quest line. So those islands can be divided into two different categories as well, a short one and a long one. So I've indicated with a the short one is indicated by the uh, light blue color, and the long ones are indicated by red. And I'll go through what I recommend doing first in just a second. You can also look at daily islands. So under this green category, we have islands like Totopia, Notos, Lopang, and Fugitive Village. These are daily islands, meaning whenever you look in game and you have you go into opponent's dailies, you can start doing quests for islands such as Fugitive Island right here. And upon doing this daily X amount of times, usually 6 days, although some such as Totopia is only 5, upon completing that many days, it will either unlock a quest or a reward through the third tab of opponent's daily. So this is the reputation of opponent's dailies, and upon acquiring enough reputation, you'll be rewarded with the heart if it's an island that's related to opponent's reputation, or a quest line will unlock, which you can see through this window right here. So if a quest line unlocks for, let's say, Totopia Island, it will indicate with this marker and it will start glowing. So that's how you can keep track of some of the daily islands. If we go back to our image, the last kind of islands, and this is a really large blanket term that I'm using, I'm calling it prerequisite islands, mainly because these islands require some sort of prerequisite, whether it's collectibles or quests or something like unlocking the Western Sea or having enough reputation or affinity with certain NPCs. So this is a really large blanket term that I'm going to use to describe those kind of islands. And these islands have been chosen, so all 15 of these islands have been chosen mainly because quest islands are fairly easy to do. Daily islands are also easy to do, but these prerequisite islands, the reason why these three were selected is because they kind of play well into the quest line you're doing anyways. So for example, Ice Maze Island is naturally unlocked, or the prerequisite for the Ice Maze Island is naturally unlocked by doing Notos Island, and Sunflower Island is naturally unlocked by doing a lot of other islands such as Pomona, Bikini, and I believe which one was it? Pomona, Bikini, Sunflower Island, and Rivenheim. So all of those will reward you with progress towards getting the heart for Sunflower Island as well. So that's kind of the reason why I chose this 15. Other people have recommended like something like 8 or 15 as well, but it's not very clear as to why those are chosen. So I hope that makes it clear as to why we're going for these. I did map out some approximate locations based on their colors, but if you guys want a better source of mapping, like to find these islands, I highly suggest going to this site right here. I'll put the link to it down below. These guys have been working non-stop, and I give all credit to them for this map, but this thing gets updated almost daily, and I highly recommend checking it out. It is translated pretty well, and I did refer to the island names according to the translations, even though I personally disagree with some of the translations, but that's not really that important. So go check out the site. You can go ahead and search for islands. So let's say you don't know where the Totopia Island is. You can type in Totopia, and it will show you where the islands are. So show and it'll take you right there. Okay, pretty easy. Let's go back to the image. So I just kind of dotted the reference points for the map here. So if you have a hard time finding something and you want to find it real quick, you can refer to this chart. But the first island that we're gonna go through is the Lonely Island Oper, and the reason why is because you unlock it automatically. Like, you can't miss this. It's part of the Blue Story quest. So after you finish the Ardentine area, you'll immediately go over to this island right here, which is the Lonely Island Oper, and you'll unlock the heart right there. This is also where you turn in all of your hearts if you end up getting more. You go to the statue that's on this island and turn it in, and this is also where you redeem your island heart rewards through the NPC, Mr. Oper. Next up, we have Bikini Island. So all of these islands are kind of in the order that I would recommend doing them. Mainly because these first ones are extremely easy to do. And the reason why they're in the blue category is because these all take about 15 minutes to do. So you can get 4 hearts within an hour. So definitely recommend doing these first. So Bikini Island, the quest begins in Ardentine. So it's in the main city, Shuritan. I'll show you the exact location where it is in game. If you go to Shuritan, Ardentine, the main city, Shuritan, there is a quest right here in this room. It's a purple quest, and that's what starts the Bikini Island quest line. However, one thing to note is that that quest marker only shows up after you complete the entire Blue Story quest line. So all the way up to Shoeshire. You have to complete Shoeshire, and you cannot have any blue quests left over for that quest to show up. As for the rest of the quest, just follow the quest line. It takes you to the Paradise Ship Pato, and then it takes you to Bikini Island, and the quest itself is really easy and simple, so it should be easy to do. For Pomona Island requires 45 charm to complete, and I've gotten a lot of questions about where do we go to get charm. What do we do to get charm? I just completed the quest and I got like 15. Well, a lot of cases, the reason why you have no charm is because you didn't complete any of the side story quests. So side story quests will reward you with a ton of charm, as well as completing some of the region adventure guide completion. So a lot of these side quests, these hidden stories, will often reward you with charm. So for example, this one rewards you with charm +1, and you can see that on the on this tooltip as you hover over it. And there's all these other stats, but if you need charm, you can go and look at these. I've done bare minimum and I already have 59. Another source you can look at is in the first region. In the first region, the first zone that you ever go into, Artemis, there is an NPC in this bar called Neria, and if you complete Neria's quests, she'll give you 10 charm automatically. It's a little item that you can consume, and if you complete 60% of Artemis, you can also get the charm increase potion. So that's already 20 points of charm right there, right off the bat. There's also another quest in Ardentine, in this first zone, in the ship, in the harbor, the first area that you enter after you come into the harbor. There is a quest right here, right above the square hole, and it's not a chain quest in the beginning. It's a regular yellow quest marker like this one, but it will ask you to transform and spy on a bunch of people, and that quest line will reward you with a charm potion. If you're having trouble finding some of these quests, you can also refer to Inven, and I'll pull it up in just a second. So when you go to Inven, if you click on the quest right here, this fourth one, this is quest, you can come down to this green green search bar, and you can type in the Korean word for charm, which is this one. If you have trouble typing that out, then you can ask me on stream or find a translation. Well, if you search for that, it's gonna show you all the quests that reward you with charm items, and those are the ones that I just referred to for the beginning of the, just like a couple seconds ago. The quest in Lionheart from Neria, and the quest in Shoeshire. So these two are the same quest. It doesn't reward you with 20. It's the same quest. It's just part 7 and part 8. So you can also refer to this in order to find the charm potions. Once you have 45 charm, you can go to Pomona Island. It's a really quick quest, and you can get the heart there. Reminiscent Island is also very straightforward. All you have to do is follow this red line and go all the way around and get all of the interactable objects and stand in the appropriate areas. It's really hard to mess up. But the dungeon is a little bit difficult, not because it's anything particularly too hard, but because it doesn't really show you with indicators where to go and what to touch, what to interact with. So my recommendation is there's about two rooms in the beginning. There's 2 rooms in the beginning and a long passageway at the end. So make sure you go into each room, each like little side section, interact with everything that you can, and keep your eye on the quest marker. Okay? Keep your eye on the quest marker and make sure it changes and indicates that you need to go to the next area. Once you've done the first 2 rooms, the last passageway is actually kind of weird because it doesn't really show you where you should be touching or where you should be interacting with things. But if you look on the bottom side of that aisle, you can come across an interactive candle or a table. It's near a table, and you can interact with that, and that will complete the quest. Or you can interact with that and then talk to the little pedestal at the end of the hallway, and then you'll come out of the dungeon, and then you'll be able to complete the quest. It's very straightforward. You shouldn't have too much trouble completing it. Next up, we have some 2 daily islands. So I recommend starting these 2 daily islands as soon as possible. Notos Island and Totopia. Actually, Totopia you don't really have to. Totopia isn't the one that I recommend to do first. It's just one of the 3 things you can do after Notos Island. So Notos Island is the most recommended one, mainly because it's gonna reward you with a whale oil on the 6th day. And the whale oil is used on a different island, so it can be really useful to get the whale oil as early as possible, so you don't end up having to struggle on the last couple days. The heart for this island is actually rewarded on the 3rd day, but I recommend doing 6 days, mainly because it's gonna give you the whale oil, and there are other sources of whale oils, but this is probably the easiest and most consistent way to get it. I have played and I have sailed for a really long time, like over 250 hours played, but I haven't seen a single whale yet, so it's really difficult to come by. So Notos Island, on the 2nd and 3rd dailies, require you to fish up 3 purple items. Those don't require any fishing investment, so you can do that as level 1 fishing, no problem. So don't worry about, do I need to invest into fishing points? You don't have to. Totopia, it's kind of strange because it only requires you to do 5 days, but I'm really thankful that it's only 5 days because this Totopia daily is one of the most annoying quests that you can do. Mainly because it asks you to talk to 20 different animals, and those animals are all scattered throughout the island, and talking to each other takes like 3 seconds each. It takes about 5 minutes to do, and it can feel like a real chore. But it only takes 5 days. The pre-quest is fairly short and pretty straightforward. You don't really have to worry too much about that. And the post-quest is actually quite annoying. The post-quest will ask you to talk to a dog. You're basically like investigating a crime situation or something like that. And the dog has a very specific sequence of dialogue that you have to click in order to complete that part of the quest. So if you don't click the right order, he will run away from you and you have to try again. So the correct order is 2-1-1. So 2-1-1-2. So you're gonna have 2 different dialogue options every single time. Click the second one, first one, second. Okay? After that, the dog will go into hiding. And the hiding location, let me pull it up on Totopia. Hiding location is right here. Right here. So after you complete the dialogue quest, or dialogue portion of the quest line, it will ask you to find the dog again. It's right here. He's in a little bush by the pond. So if you're having trouble finding that, just refer to this. Or there are other images online that are available. After that, we have Glacial Island and Turtle Island. Actually, the next 4 islands are kind of the long story quest ones. So all 4 of these are the long ones. They take between 30 minutes to about an hour. And in the case of Lighthouse Island, it can take up to 2 hours if you just sail instead of fast traveling everywhere. But Turtle Island is very simple. very straightforward, nothing too difficult. Just do what they ask you to do. I think you have to buy something from a vendor at one point, but just try to match up the characters if you don't speak Korean, and just it's a fairly straightforward quest. You shouldn't have too much trouble with it. It does reward you with an item, an exchangeable item at the end of the quest line, and that item can be found here. This NPC marker is the premium vendor. Currently there's only exchange for the turtle mount, so you can trade them here. If you go to major cities, they might always be out of stock. So what I tend to do on my alts is I usually go to the first town. The first town is fairly empty enough. This luxury seller restocks every like 8 hours, 12 hours or something like that. So just go here and try to find the turtle in exchange for the turtle. Next up we have Glacial Island. Glacial Island starts in Paradise Ship Peito, and the quest line to go to Paradise Ship Peito and Sunflower Island starts in Shoeshire after you complete all of the quests. So make sure you pick up all the purple quests in Shoeshire before you begin doing the island stuff. Glacial Island takes about an hour, and the hardest part, or the most confusing part about Glacial Island quest line, is whenever you finish the quest line, or whenever you proceed the quest line into Ardentine and into Shuderin, it will suddenly not give you a location when you try to track it down. And when that happens, just leave Ardentine, so leave through the harbor, and then it will start showing up with quest markers to track evidence along the coastline of Ardentine. So once you leave Ardentine, it will ask you to go to this map, leave to the harbor, and then it will go down in this area down here along the southern coast of Ardentine, and then it will ask you to investigate different areas here. So if you're having trouble with that quest line, that's what you can do. That's what you should be doing. Lighthouse Island. Lighthouse Island is a headache. It is extremely long. It takes you to about 3 different continents over the course of its storyline. It is a pretty touching storyline, and it's very sad, but it's also sad because it takes about 1.5 hours on average. The quest line is very easy. It's pretty self-explanatory. It also rewards you with some life skill potions, so definitely worth doing. And it also unlocks the Wandering Spirit vendor, and that's important because Wandering Spirits actually got easier to acquire because of the Epona's dailies that are available. And I believe I already did them today. But on this Battle Master that's been level 50 for like 5 days, I already have 12 of these Wandering Spirits. And the reason why I'm collecting these Wandering Spirits is because the NPC will give you has the Song of the Starlight, I believe. This song right here. So it's definitely worth getting for the future because it's part of your character's progression. And it also has some art pieces and assortment of other things that you can also get. As for the Silent Island is located down here in this red dot. Silent Island is actually one of the more confusing ones. There is a box in the entrance that's like slightly glowing, and you have to interact with that box to start the quest line. And then after you meet the I believe blacksmith, he'll give you a quest that has 3 different requirements. 2 of those requirements are completed at the last dungeon of Totoik. So let me show you. So in Totoik, which is this island continent, if you go to this last map, this is where you complete the quest. First 2 parts of the quest. The quest completion it's in the first like 5 minutes of the dungeon, so you don't have to complete the dungeon at all. It's in the first two zones. On the other hand, the third part is in Udia. So if you go to Udia and go to this south map, it is this dungeon right here, Morai Ruins. This dungeon is extremely long and will take about 30 minutes no matter how fast you try to do it. You have to complete the entire dungeon, so it is a bit annoying, but it is part of the story. And this quest also rewards you with the skill point potion, so you kind of have to do it. So try to do it earlier than later. So we have Silent Island. Next two islands are the second set of daily islands. So after you complete Notos Island and whatever, let's say Totopia Island, you can do Lopang Island. Lopang Island is the godsend of dailies because it gives you shillings. Shillings are actually quite hard to come by, especially if you're using your Cillian's commands for platinum fields rather than cubes. So you definitely want to do these if you're running out of shillings. And doing this daily will give you about 60k to about 90k shillings. So it's definitely good to do. I have made multiple videos on Lopang Island alone, but as a quick overview, you have to do all of the pre-quests for the last quest to show up. So the initial pre-quest for the dailies to show up is only like one quest line. It's only like 2 minutes. But in order for the purple quest after 6 days of dailies to show, you have to do all of the pre-quests. So make sure you do all of the pre-quests, and you have to deliver to the same harbor 6 times. So you have to deliver, let's say if you picked Anitz, you have to deliver to Anitz 6 times. If you do Anitz 3 times and then let's say Shoeshire 3 times, the purple quest is not going to show up. So make sure you do it to the same islands or same harbor 6 times, okay? Fugitive Village is actually really annoying. It is much like Totopia in that it takes way too long to complete on a daily basis, but it is pretty stress-free if you know how to do it. So what I recommend is I've already indicated on a small image right here where you want to stand. The red spot and the yellow spot can be watched at this jumping point right here in the middle. You can look at both spawn spots. So those two are the first and the second NPCs. For the third one, you can stand right here on top of this left blue green marker, and this left green marker will allow you to see both the NPC that spawns on that spot and the NPC that spawns on the other side of the building. So if you see it on the other side of the building, just run right across and talk to them. This usually takes me somewhere between like on lucky days like 30 seconds to 10 minutes. So just do it this way. It's much better than chasing the NPCs around and trying to talk to them. So this also requires you to do 6 days. So Lopang Island requires a quest to be completed at the end of the 6 days. Fugitive Village will reward you the heart directly through Epona's reputation. So none of the quests on this island are required for the heart. They are required for other things, and they do give you some stats, the tertiary stats, but for the most part you can ignore them if you're strapped on time. So now we have some of the prerequisite islands. These are a little bit more difficult to explain, but I think Ice Maze Island and Island of Wisdom is fairly easy to cover. So Ice Maze Island, you have to have the whale oil from Notos Island. So the reason why I recommend the Notos first is because it gives you the whale oil. So after you acquire the whale oil, you go to Ice Maze Island, and when you're in Ice Maze Island, you will first spawn in a random location somewhere on the map. Now, I know it's not 100% random. You're not just going to randomly spawn in any given spot. But generally, what you have to do is, number one, you have to find where you are in the maze. So just walk around. And what I recommend is just go straight in one direction. Try to go straight in one direction as much as possible until you feel like you've hit a wall. And then try to identify where you are on that wall. Next thing you have to do is, from the location where you found yourself, you have to make your way over to one of the 4 purple areas. So one of these 4 purple areas, all 4 of them have an NPC that you can start the quest with. And the quest is an escort quest. It has a time limit of 5 minutes. All you have to do is take the raccoon from one of these 4 areas back to the center. After you complete the quest of taking that raccoon to the center, you can come to this light blue icon right here. Talk to this NPC right here, and he will suddenly not have anything to say. All right, and your quest marker will update with like go somewhere, go talk to someone. When you have that quest, when you're at that part of the quest, just return to any of the starting purple areas, and you can talk to the red NPC, the NPC that first gave you the quest in the beginning, and then that will complete the entire quest line, which will reward you the heart through the box. The box also has an art piece and a giant's heart. which is really important for the next two islands. So if you have any questions about Ice Maze Island, there are better guides out there. I did borrow this image from an invent poster named Kukson, so I give full credit to this image to him. All I'm doing is just explaining how to do it. So next up we have Island of Wisdom. Island of Wisdom is a currency collectible island. So it has an NPC much like the Heart of the Islands for Oper. It has an NPC that rewards you based on how many giant's hearts you've collected, and the same thing with Sunflower Island. So when you collect 3 giant's hearts, you're gonna get a quest item. This quest item will give you will start a quest that rewards you with the heart. In order to complete the heart, you have to have Song of Resonance. So let's first get started with the where to get all the giant's hearts. There are 4 very easy sources. First one is in the floor 18 of tower, I believe. So just do tower, get to like floor 20, and you should have it automatically. The second one is a purple quest in Totopia. It's very easy to do, it takes like 3 minutes. It is only available after you hit level 50, I believe, or completed the blue story quest. So you don't worry if you don't see this quest line immediately after completing the zone. And next up we have Ice Maze completion. Like I mentioned, when you complete the Ice Maze, it will give you the heart through the box. And then we have Totopia 70% Atlas completion. So all 4 of those are very easy to obtain. You only need 3 of them. However, the hard part is the Song of Resonance. So Song of Resonance requires a specific currency, the Ancient Mana Fragment. Okay? This one can only be acquired through shipwrecks or the Suicide Chicken Island daily. And if you have a ton of time, do through shipwrecks. You can do it through shipwrecks. I've done it through shipwrecks. It is very frustrating and it is very annoying. But if you've done Mokoko seeds, then you might have the NPC that gives you, or the crew member that gives you plus whatever, +2 level 2 shipwreck ability. And you can also have Mokoko's ship, which is also good for shipwrecks if you upgrade it. So it isn't too bad. It's not as painful as some people might say. It is definitely not easy, and you will get screwed with RNG every now and then. But it is definitely doable. If you don't have much time, then just do it through the daily quest. Like, it's honestly not that bad. You do have to sacrifice some of your daily progression on some, let's say, like chaos dungeons every now and then, but it isn't too harsh of a penalty. I think it's much better to just do, let's say, 3 of these. Go buy the roar emote from Freedom Island with the black tooth marks, and then complete the quest on Peto's ship, which will give you 1 more. So just do 3 dailies, get another one from the quest that you complete by using the roar emote, and then you have 10, right? It's not too difficult, but you do need the Song of Resonance to complete the Island of Wisdom. All you have to do is sing it at the last dungeon of Totopia. It's really easy, and then it'll reward you with the heart. Next up, we have Sunflower Island. So this one is the one that I recommended in the beginning, but as I did it, I kind of regret recommending it because it is quite a chore. If some of the RNG islands weren't nerfed, or rather buffed, then I would have definitely just recommended Sunflower Island. But nowadays, I would just do Fortuna Island, to be quite fair. Like, Fortuna Island got changed, so it's really easy to do. It took me, across all 3 of my characters, it took me somewhere between 5 minutes to 15. So maybe it might take you 30 minutes if you're really unlucky, but it's not too bad. Fortuna Island is highly recommended. But let's cover Sunflower Island first. The Sunflower Island is actually quite worth it if you're going for the gold, because when you do 8 pieces of art, it gives you 500 gold, so that's not too bad. But the heart requires 10 art pieces. There's 40 total that's currently in the game, and about 20 to 25 of them are completely unobtainable at the current state, because most of them are from something like diamond cube boxes, favor rewards, etc. It's a pain. but there are about 15 that are pretty easy to obtain. So I've listed the recommended ones. So I mentioned that some of the Sunflower Island was picked because it has a natural progression with some of the other islands, so such as Pomona Island, Ice Maze Island, and something like Wandering Spirit, the Lighthouse Island. So all of these will reward you with the art collectibles. So what I recommend is just try to get through all of these lists. Try to do as many as possible. See which ones are something that you want to do. So I believe I did 4 of these, about 5 of these. So 4 of these quests, the first 4 things, 5 of these zones, and then the Blacktooth Mark painting on my blaster. So it's definitely doable. It just takes a little bit more time investment. This one I believe took me about 3 hours to do all of them. So it's not something that you want to tackle like from start to finish right away. This is something that you'll work on through the course of the 12 days that you are doing the dailies, doing the daily islands. So don't be in a rush to complete this. If you want to give it a shot, just go over to Fortuna Island and break some pots. It's really easy to do, and I highly recommend it. But I did want to give a 15 non-RNG way to get hearts, so I've included Sunflower Island. As for those who have been touched by the hand of God and am blessed with the RNG, these are the islands that I recommend that you check out. So Fortuna Island, like I mentioned, is really easy now. Dukey Island has been changed, so I think the rewards are substantially less than it was before, but Dukey Island is still very good for getting a heart. Golden Tide Island is the island where you have to touch boxes that spawn randomly throughout the map. It wasn't too bad when I did it on my Infighter. Estella Island is a pain in the butt. I do not recommend it at all. It will take you at least an hour minimum. Hour to like 3 hours depending on your luck, and there's a ton of people there. So try to go during downtime for Korea or right after maintenances so that you can touch all of the fallen stars. Next up we have Slave Island. This is the one where you have to compete with other players to free slaves first. I don't really recommend it if you're on a populated server like I am. I'm on Lupion, the most populated server, so it's almost, I never go here. It's such a waste of time for me. But if you're on a much smaller server, you can definitely go check it out. You can liberate up to 5 slaves per day, and the rewards. So what happens is you can do 5 slaves per day. They will send you mail. They'll give you mail, and they'll have pouches. If you open up the pouches, it has a chance to give you a ton of shillings, a ton of Lupion's currency. Sometimes it'll give you a legendary crew member. It can also give you the heart of the island, and it can also give you a painting. Right, so there's a ton of things that you can get. It's just not worth it for me because I can't ever free a slave because of the ping. Like I just can't compete with the Korean ping. Next up we have X301 Island. You have to be item level 335 above, and this is also really good because the hoverboard mount that you get from doing 15 of these this island's dailies requires you to beat the boss, and the heart comes from the boss. So might as well knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. You'll eventually get the heart if you just do the 15 island dailies for the hoverboard. And honestly, who doesn't want a hoverboard? So definitely give this place a shot if you are 335 above 335. Next up we have the KFC Island. They did say they buffed the drop rate. I personally haven't tested it myself. The KFC boss is quite disgusting for melee characters. So just keep your distance, try not to die too many times because durability is a thing. But KFC Island shouldn't be too bad. The heart doesn't drop from the chicken, but the quest item does drop from the chicken, so check that one out. But that has been the 15 islands. Honestly, it should take you no longer than 12 days to complete all of these. It was a lot of content, but the first 8 hearts takes like maybe 2 hours total. So it really isn't too bad. It's a really nice way to get started with the island sets as well. So island set gear. And it's a really good way to get into the Western Sea. Alright? So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll leave a link to this image on my Google document guide, as well as the description of this video, and the link for the ice maze on the description of the link as well, or description of the video as well. So I'll see you guys next time.